My carpool partner is leaving, and he doesn't know I love him. The man I accidentally fell in love with on a 30-minute commute is about to accept a job that ends our carpool, and he has no idea. His phone is in the cup holder between us. Screen still lit up. The email subject line feels like a warning flashing in my face. Subject: official offer letter. Senior network analyst position. We're parked in our usual spot. The engine is off. The air is too still. His coffee's going cold. We're not just coworkers. We've been carpooling every weekday for months. 30 minutes to Henderson and Associates. 30 minutes back. Same route, same playlist, same drive-through coffee orders, same stupid games we made up to survive traffic. The new job is across town. Different building, different schedule, different direction. If he takes it, our little bubble, the space between his driver's seat and my spot by the window, pops. Grant hasn't spoken in almost 30 seconds. His hands rest on the steering wheel like he's bracing for impact. His jaw flexes once, twice. I can hear the ticking of the cooling engine and a car door slamming somewhere else in the garage. So, he says finally. His voice sounds wrong. It's real. I should be screaming with him, hugging him, demanding we go celebrate at the terrible taco truck on 5th that somehow makes the best bad tacos in the city. This is everything he's been grinding toward. Better pay, actual health insurance, a boss who apparently does not make people cry in supply closets. Instead, my chest feels heavy and all I can think is, this might be the last time we do this like this. Not the last time we see each other, not the last time we talk, but the last time he pulls up at 7:42 a.m. because we both know I need those extra 2 minutes. The last time we argue about whether the GPS voice sounds more like a disappointed aunt or a robot going through a divorce. The last time this 30-minute commute feels like the only part of my day where I can actually breathe. I force a smile that feels like cardboard. Grant, that's amazing. You have to take it. He looks at me. Really looks at me the way he started doing somewhere along the way. Like he can see past I'm fine. Everything's fine I've ever thrown at him. Yeah, he says quietly. I probably do. An acorn drops out of the oak tree and pings off the hood like a tiny gunshot. Right then, with the offer email glowing between us, I finally stopped lying to myself. This was never just about gas money. I fell in love with my carpool partner. When Grant first emailed me about carpooling, I was sitting on my apartment floor surrounded by bills, eating cereal for dinner. My studio in Maplewood Heights looked like a before picture. Thrift store couch, crooked poster, milk that might already be bad. My banking app balance glared up at me from my phone in aggressive red. Rent, utilities, credit card minimums, gas. Everything hurt, but gas hurt in a special way. My 12-year-old Civic drank fuel like it hated me. Every fill-up felt like lighting a 20 and tossing it into the tank. At work, HR put up a sign. Carpool matching. Save gas, save money, save the planet. But mostly save money, let's be honest. Someone had drawn a cartoon car with dollar signs floating around it. Underneath was a grid. Name, neighborhood, schedule. I stared at it while the office coffee machine coughed out something dark and bitter. Thinking about it? Claire asked, appearing at my elbow with her mug. Thinking about getting murdered by a coworker before 9 a.m., I said. Still deciding, she snorted. If someone strangles me in the parking garage, at least I won't have to answer any more emails about team synergy. Valid? She nodded toward the paper. They're matching by neighborhood. Could be worth it. Gas is killing everyone. Gas is killing everyone. Rent is killing me. Debt is chewing on whatever's left. I stepped closer and scanned the names. Most were from the south side. Too far. Wrong way. Then I saw his. Grant, Maplewood Heights, 8 a.m., start Lark 5 p.m. end, has car, wants to split costs. I knew who he was. Kind of. IT guy. Tall, always a little rumbled, fixed my computer during the great quarterly report disaster back in February. When my desktop decided to eat an entire client folder right before a presentation, he'd restored everything, calm and quick. No jokes about user error? Just a quiet, happens to everyone. You're good. And then he vanished back into IT land. We'd waved at each other a few times since. A hey at the coffee machine. That was it. Claire followed my eyes and smiled. Oh, Grant's solid. Fixed my laptop last month. Zero murder vibes. That's a strong review, I said. Honestly, if you're going to be trapped in traffic with someone, you can do a lot worse than the tired IT guy who brings his own mug. Rent flashed in my head like a siren. My thumb hovered over my phone. I pulled up my banking app again, stared at the negative number, and felt something in me give up. I grabbed the pen. Madison, Maplewood Heights, same schedule. We'll split gas, parking. My handwriting wobbled on parking. I put the pen down like it might bite me. 2 hours later, an email popped up. Hey Madison, saw you signed up for carpool matching. I'm on Birch, 10 minutes from the office district. If that's close, I can pick you up starting Monday. We can figure out how to split gas and parking. Promise I don't play crypto podcasts at 7:45 a.m. Grant. I snorted at my desk. Kelsey in the next cubicle poked her head around the divider. You okay? She asked. Carpool email, I said. He promised not to talk about crypto before sunrise. Marry him, she said immediately, then went back to her spreadsheet. I typed back before I could overthink it. That works. I'm on Maple, a few blocks from Birch. 7:45 pickup. I come with coffee and no murdery vibes. Madison. His reply came 5 minutes later. Perfect, 7:45. I also promised not to talk much until at least the third stoplight. See you Monday, Grant. Sitting on my floor that night with my bills and my cereal, there was something new in the room with me, a tiny carpool-shaped bit of hope. I should have known right then I was already in danger. The first ride felt like a blind date with seatbelts. On Monday morning, I was on the cracked sidewalk outside my building, hugging my travel mug. A navy Accord rolled up, one hubcap missing, small dent in the bumper. The car looked tired but functional, same as its owner. Grant leaned over and popped the passenger door. Madison, that's me, I said, climbing in. The car smelled like coffee and old fabric. A tiny solar-powered bobblehead on the dash nodded at me. The dinosaur air freshener came later. Hey, he said. Hey. We both buckled our seatbelts. The silence afterward was so loud I could hear the tick of the blinker before he even used it. So, he said after a beat, eyes on the road. Ground rules. Music, podcast, complete silence until caffeine hits. Anything but motivational speeches about grinding and hustling, I said. If I hear rise and grind before 9, I'm throwing myself out of the car. He gave a short laugh. Noted. Music it is. He plugged in his phone. Soft acoustic guitar filled the car. Low enough we could talk over it. I should warn you, he said. My playlists are either sad indie songs or early 2000s pop I refuse to be ashamed of. I listened to the same Taylor Swift song 47 times in a row during finals once, I said. My standards are subterranean. Good, he said. We'll get along. We drove in silence for a while. Not hostile silence, just two strangers sharing air. He drove exactly the speed limit, used his turn signal, checked his mirrors like his life depended on it. We reached the parking garage in 28 minutes. He pulled into a spot under the half-dead oak tree and put it it in park. Same time this afternoon? He asked. Yeah, I said. Same spot. If you decide you hate this, you can fake your own death and bail, he added. If you start every morning with a sales pitch for Bitcoin, I will, I said. He smiled, small but real. Deal. We walked into the building together and split at the elevators. That should have been the whole story. Two broke coworkers saving gas, a purely practical arrangement. It wasn't. By Thursday, we had rules. We never wrote them down, but they were there. Rule 1, no serious work talk for the first 10 minutes of any drive. We were allowed to complain eventually, but those first 10 belonged to music, podcasts, or comfortable silence. Rule 2, whoever had the worst day picked the playlist on the way home. No veto. Rule 3, phones stayed away unless family called twice in a row. Rule 4, if someone cried, the other person pretended not to notice until the crier brought it up. Rule 5 crept in quietly. Anything said in the car stayed in the car. We didn't say that one out loud. We just knew. Then the road rage incident happened. We were on the highway behind a minivan covered in honor. Student stickers when a massive pickup in the next lane decided it owned our space too. 1 second, everything was normal. The next, the front of the truck drifted right at us like we were invisible. Seriously? I blurted. Grant swore under his breath, jerked the wheel just enough, and the pickup roared into our lane, missing us by a few feet. My coffee sloshed onto my jeans. The truck honked like we were the problem. Then the driver stuck his arm out and flipped us off without even looking. My heart slammed against my ribs. Did he just almost kill us and then flip us off? Yep, Grant said, voice weirdly calm. You okay? I have coffee on my pants and I saw my life flash before my eyes. So, yes, I stared at him. You're disturbingly calm right now. I taught my little sister to drive in this city, he said. This isn't even top 20 worst experiences. Top 20? I choked. How are you still alive? Luck and spite, he said. Something about his tone, dry, steady, like this was annoying but not surprising, made a hysterical laugh bubble out of me. It came out too loud. Then he started laughing too, this rough, surprised sound like he didn't quite recognize it. He pulled off at the next gas station so I could dab at my jeans with paper towels. That guy was a menace, I said, scrubbing at the stain. Amateur hour, Grant said. Total rookie. We got back on the highway still chuckling, even though our hands shook a little. That was the first time the car felt like more than just transportation. The ritual started small. On a Monday when I climbed in looking like I'd already lost the week, he turned right instead of left. We're going the wrong way, I said. We're going the coffee way, he said. You look like you need either caffeine or an exorcism. Exorcism might be cheaper. He pulled into a tiny drive-thru I'd never noticed. The barista leaned out and smiled. Hey, Grant, usual? She asked. Plus whatever she wants, he said, nodding at me. I rattled off my bad day order. Vanilla latte, extra shot, oat milk, irresponsible amount of caramel. When she passed it through, Grant handed it over like a peace offering. You're dangerous, I said after the first sip. This is how people fall in love. With coffee, not you. Good clarification, he said. I'll let the latte break your heart. On Wednesdays, he put on true crime podcasts and paused them every few minutes to complain. Why do people keep going into basements alone? He'd demand. Have they never seen a movie? Fridays turned into weekly debriefs where we listed the worst corporate sins of the week. That email about family culture was a hate crime, I said once, slumped in my seat. He used 3 fonts in 1 paragraph. Grant said. That's an arrestable offense. We invented a game we called What's Their Deal? At red lights, we'd pick a car and make up a life. Red sedan, dog hair on the back seat, he'd say. Single dad. Works nights. Has a kid who collects rocks. White SUV, yoga mat, reusable grocery bags, I'd say. Kindergarten teacher. Moonlights as a secret agent. Can kill a man with a glitter pen. It was stupid and petty and completely addictive. Bits became in-jokes. In-jokes became habits. Habits became comfort. Somewhere in there, the car stopped being a car and started being our car, even though my name wasn't on any paperwork. Deeper stuff slipped in slowly. One afternoon, stuck in a sea of brake lights, he drummed his fingers on the wheel and said, confession time. My God, I said. You're quitting our carpool. You found someone who doesn't spill coffee. I would never betray you like that, he said. I applied for 4 other jobs this week. Oh, outside Henderson, he said. Better pay, better benefits. Probably better people. I'm tired of putting out fires for Owen and pretending pizza Fridays. Make up for my mom's medical bills. I'd known his mom had MS. He'd mentioned appointments. Physical therapy. I hadn't known how bad the bills were. How much he was carrying. How is she doing? I asked. Better than the paperwork says, he said. Some days are rough. Most are manageable. But when the mail comes, I feel like I'm back at the starting line. Yeah, I said softly. I know that feeling. He glanced over. You do. My dad left when I was 12, I said. One morning he was there. By dinner he wasn't. No note. No explanation. Just gone. My mom sat at the kitchen table with a pile of bills and this look on her face, like the world had ended and nobody told the weather. Grant's hands tightened on the wheel. He didn't look at me. He stared straight ahead. That made it easier to keep talking. I got good at not expecting people to stay, I said. Jobs end. Apartments change. Friends move away. People leave. If you never really believe anything is permanent, you don't get blindsided when it disappears. That sounds exhausting, he said quietly. It is, I said, but it's safe, kind of. We sat with that for a minute. When my mom got diagnosed, he said, I thought about running. I looked at him. Not seriously, he added quickly. Just, the thought crossed my mind. It was all so big, so heavy. Then I looked at my little sister and realized if I left, she'd drown. And I'd never forgive myself. Naomi? I asked. I'd heard her name in passing. Little details. A failed test. A new job. A birthday. Yeah, he said. She's the smart one. I want her to have choices. I'll take the boring stuff. The bills. The calls with insurance. I'd rather she be stressed about finals than copays. You're allowed to want things too, I said. Working on it, he replied. The wipers squeaked. A horn blared 2 lanes over. A kid in the next car jammed his face against the window and made a weird expression at us. Grant made the same face back. The kid startled and burst into giggles. I laughed too. The heavy mood lightened, but it didn't vanish. It just settled in a deeper place. Rule 5 was doing its job. Then the storm hit. Grant picked me up under a low gray sky. By the time we hit the highway, the sky opened up. Rain hammered the windshield. The wipers worked overtime and still couldn't keep up. Headlights blurred into white smears. Water pooled on the road in wide, dark sheets. I hate this, I muttered. We'll go slow, he said. His voice was calm, but his knuckles were tight on the wheel. I can't see the lane lines, I said. My knee bounced. Can you see the lane lines? Mostly, he said. Grant. Okay, not enough. I'm pulling off. There's a gas station up here. He eased us onto the exit ramp. My heart was doing way too much cardio. When we pulled under the gas station awning and he turned the engine off, the silence screamed. I hate storms, I said. I sounded like a kid. I noticed, he said gently. Come on, let's get terrible coffee and wait it out. The rain soaked us in the 3 seconds it took to run inside. The gas station smelled like rubber and burnt beans. We bought steaming cups of something technically called coffee and sat in a sticky plastic booth by the window. Outside, the sky was a wall of water. If this was a movie, Grant said, wrapping his hands around his cup. This is where one of us reveals deep trauma. I already played the my dad left card, I said. I heard the headline, he said. Not the story. I stared at the swirling liquid in my cup. When he left, I watched my mom fall apart, I said. Bills piled up. Rent notices. I learned how to ration groceries before I could drive. I kept thinking, if I can just get older faster, I can fix it. Turns out, being older is expensive? Yeah, he said softly. It is. Storms freak me out because the day after he left, there was one like this, I said. My mom sat at the table with this stack of envelopes. Every thunderclap, she flinched like someone was yelling at her. I decided right then I would never need anyone again. 10 out of 10. Terrible plan. He watched the rain for a moment. My mom's diagnosis hit in the middle of a heat wave, he said. We were already behind on rent. The AC barely worked. She came home from the doctor with this tight smile and a stack of pamphlets. Naomi didn't understand. I didn't either. I dropped out of community college a week later and got a second job. You've been sprinting ever since, I said. Pretty much, he said. Sometimes I forget I'm allowed to want something besides survival. You are, I said. So are you, he said. We sat quietly, listening to the storm. This coffee is awful, I said eventually. Tastes like burned pennies, he agreed. The company should serve it in meetings, I said. Punishment coffee, he snorted. I'd drink it if it meant less time listening to Owen say synergy. Thunder cracked so loud the windows rattled. I jumped. He reached across the table without thinking and covered my hand with his. Sorry, he said. Don't be, I replied. He didn't pull away. Neither did I. The rain started to lighten. We ran back to the car, soaked, shivering, and somehow lighter. Back on the road, the tires hissed on wet pavement. He turned the radio down low. My heartbeat settled. I realized I'd told him things I hadn't said to anyone in years, and he'd just held them. The car actually died 2 weeks later. We were halfway home. No storm, no drama. Just a weird cough from under the hood, and then nothing. The engine cut out. The dashboard lights flickered. Oh no, I said. That's not ideal, he muttered, guiding us onto the shoulder. We rolled to a stop. Hazard lights blinked. Cars roared past. What happened? I asked. I'm an IT guy, not a mechanic, he said. My expert diagnosis is something died. Very technical, I said. He called roadside assistance. I listened to him calmly repeat our location and details, even though his jaw was tight enough to crack teeth. 2 hours, he said when he hung up. They're slammed. 2 hours on the side of the highway, I said. Love that. We'll survive, he said. We have air and half a granola bar. The first half hour, we made fun of license plates. The next half hour, we played What's Their Deal with every car that passed. After an hour, my phone battery was almost dead and we were both slumped in our seats. My stomach just yelled at me, I said. We have a nutritional solution, he said, opening the glove box. Half a protein bar and a questionable peppermint. You keep emergency snacks, I said. I think I love you. The words tumbled out before I could catch them. I froze. He did too. For the bar, I blurted. I love the bar, obviously. The bar is my soulmate. He looked at me. Just for a second, something complicated moved across his face. Then he smiled carefully and broke the bar in half. Here, he said. Soulmate. I took it. My hands shook more than they should have. The tow truck finally arrived. The mechanic told us the repair would be around $400. I watched the color drain from Grant's face. Hey, I said quietly while the mechanic walked back to his clipboard. We can split it. You already pay for gas, he said. And you buy coffee and listen to me rant about my mom, I said. We're partners in this. 50-50. You don't have to. I know, I said. I want to. He swallowed. 50-50, he said. We rode back in the tow truck, shoulder to shoulder on the bench seat, watching his poor Accord bounce behind us. At the shop, we dropped the keys and walked to the nearest bus stop. The bus smelled like old fries and something worse. We sat close on the cracked vinyl seats, swaying together every time it lurched. We got off 3 stops too late because we were busy making up a backstory for a guy wearing a full fish hat. That was the worst day, I gasped, laughing, as we trudged down the sidewalk toward my building. My shoes swished. My hair frizzed out in all directions. Top 3, he said. Maybe top 2. He still walked me all the way to my door. Same time tomorrow, he asked. You sure you don't need a restraining order break? I asked. Ask me after I sleep, he said. But yeah, same time. I watched him walk away, hands shoved in his pockets, shoulders hunched, standing there, damp and tired and weirdly happy. It hit me like a truck that actually did slow down for red lights. I wasn't starting to fall. I wasn't in danger. I was gone, fully, all the way. I was in love with my carpool partner. Then we almost crashed. We were passing the strip mall with the terrible dry cleaner and the good donut place. The light ahead turned green. Grant drove through the intersection, like a normal human who understands traffic signals. Another car did not. It flew through the red light from the cross street. No slowing, no hesitation, just a blur of metal. Grant, I started. He slammed on the brakes. The tires screamed. My seatbelt dug into my chest. The world tilted. For a second, all I saw were headlights and white. We ended up on the shoulder, half turned, heartbeats pounding louder than the horns behind us. The other car kept going. No brake lights. No pause. Gone. Madison, Grant said. His voice shook. Are you hurt? Look at me. Are you okay? I forced my eyes off the empty road and onto him. His face was pale. His hands shook on the wheel. I'm okay, I said, even though my body disagreed. You? I thought we were going to get hit, he said. I thought. He cut himself off and reached across the console, grabbing my hand. He squeezed so hard it almost hurt. I squeezed back. We sat like that, fingers laced, trying to convince our nervous systems we were still alive. This isn't the kind of excitement I signed up for, I said weakly. I would have accepted a surprise cupcake instead. I'll keep that in mind, he said. His laugh came out rough. Near-death experiences, bad. Cupcakes, ideal. We stayed pulled over until our breathing slowed. He didn't let go of my hand. Madison, he said finally, there's something I've been wanting to say. My heart did that weird, hopeful stutter. Yeah? I asked. His thumb brushed my knuckles once. He opened his mouth. His phone rang. We both jumped. He cursed under his breath, checked the screen, and winced. It's Naomi, he said. said. She never calls twice in a row unless something's up. Answer, I said, pulling my hand back. Go. He did. Turned out she needed help with a project and a ride later. Normal stuff. Life barging in like it always does. By the time he hung up, the charged moment had drained out of the car. Sorry, he said. It's okay, I lied. He drove me home. We talked about nothing important. I went up to my apartment, lay on my bed, and stared at the ceiling for an hour. I replayed his voice in my head. There's something I've been wanting to say. I didn't ask him to finish the sentence. I was too scared of what the answer might be. The email came. Grant picked me up like usual. Travel mug, soft music, small talk, but his energy was off. Like all his thoughts were somewhere else. You okay? I asked. Yeah, he said. Too fast. Just tired. I let it go. For now. That afternoon, back under the oak tree, he put the car in park and didn't move. Madison, he said, I need to tell you something. My stomach flipped. Okay. He picked up his phone, opened his email, and turned the screen toward me. Subject. Official offer letter. Senior network analyst position. It's a job at Vertex, he said. Across town. More money. Better benefits. Real grown-up stuff. My brain did two things at once. One part yelled, this is amazing for him. The other whispered, this ruins everything for you. That's huge, I said. Grant, that's incredible. Is it? He asked softly. You've been applying for months, I said. You deserve this. Your mom deserves this. Naomi deserves this. I know, he said. I just didn't think about what it would change. Our bubble. Our routine. My favorite 30 minutes of every day. How long do you have to decide? I asked. Until Friday. Okay, I said. That's a few days. You can make pro-con lists. Talk to your mom. Stress eat cereal. You know, the usual. He huffed out a laugh, but it died quickly. I wanted you to know, he said. Before I decide. Thank you, I said. He started the engine. We walked into the office, answered emails, pretended everything was normal. It wasn't. The days between that email and Friday stretched and blurred at the same time. Our commutes kept happening. Same car, same route, same oak tree. Everything felt different. We still played What's Their Deal, but sometimes we trailed off in the middle. We still complained about Owen, but his name sounded smaller compared to Vertex. We still put music on, but sometimes the songs ended and neither of us noticed. On Thursday afternoon, halfway home, Grant broke the tension. I talked to my mom last night, he said. And? I asked. I told her I was thinking about turning the offer down. My head snapped toward him. What? Why? She cried, he said, like full-on tears. Happy ones. Then she called me an idiot for even considering staying. Sounds like a wise woman, I said. She asked what could possibly be more important than better pay, better benefits, and shorter hours, he said. And I heard myself say, my commute. My chest squeezed. Your commute? Our commute. He corrected quietly. These drives? This bubble. You. I stared out the windshield. The road blurred. Grant, I said. You can't reject a life-changing job for a carpool. What if it's not just a carpool? He asked. The words landed between us like a dropped glass. What if this is the only time of day I feel like me, he went on. Not a son, not a brother, not IT support. Just a guy in a car with a girl who gets it. You can still be that guy, I said. Just at different times, in different places. Not on this route. He was quiet long enough that I thought he'd let it go. I'm not asking you to tell me to stay, he said finally. I know I have to go. I just needed you to know what I'd miss. I'll miss it too, I said. My voice came out thin, more than I want to admit. He glanced at me, then back at the road. That's something, he said. We drove the rest of the way with the music low and a dozen unspoken thoughts sitting between us. Friday, my alarm failed me. I jolted awake to sunlight where there shouldn't be sunlight. My phone read 8:02 a.m. 3 texts from Grant. 7:40. On my way. 7:52. Everything okay? 8:05 took the bus. Text me when you wake up. My stomach dropped. I called. He didn't answer. Probably in a meeting. I texted back a frantic explanation, then did a speedrun version of getting ready and sprinted for the bus. Without him, the commute felt longer, louder, worse. I got to the office late, sweating and frazzled. As I rushed past IT, he looked up from his desk. Our eyes met through the glass. He lifted a hand in a small wave. I mouthed, sorry. He gave me a little shrug. It's okay. At lunch, I found him in the break room, staring at his phone like it had personally offended him. Hey, I said. Sorry about this morning. My alarm died. I had a full panic attack. It was very productive. He smiled faintly. Driving alone sucked. Yeah? I said. I kept turning to make a joke and you weren't there, he said, then rubbed his neck. It was weird. We were quiet for a second. I made my decision, he said. My heart slammed into my ribs. And he took a breath. Can we talk after work? Last drive home? I want to tell you in the car. Yeah, I said. My throat was dry. Of course. The rest of the day crawled. I walked to our spot under the oak tree. He was already there, leaning against the car, hands in his pockets. Hey, he said. Hey. We got in, buckled up. He didn't start the engine. I took the job, he said. It still hurt, even though I'd been expecting it. That's amazing, I said. Really, I'm proud of you. I'm not finished, he said. Okay. He turned toward me fully. His expression was so open it almost hurt to look at. I took the job because it's the smart choice, he said. For my mom, for Naomi, for my bank account. If I turned it down, I'd resent myself. And I'd probably resent you even if that wasn't fair. I don't want that, I said. I know, he said. That's why I'm saying this now, before we start trying to be brave about it. My heart pounded. This was never just carpool for me, he said. Not after the first week. Maybe not after the first day you insulted my playlist. Rude, I muttered. My voice shook. I kept telling myself it was about gas and company and safety, he said. But somewhere, between watching you eat sad cereal for dinner and sitting in that gas station during the storm, I fell in love with you. My breath caught. I tried not to, he continued. I told myself it was just proximity, routine, trauma bonding in traffic. But I'm in love with you, Madison. And I can't pretend this is just a commute anymore. Tears burned behind my eyes. If you don't feel the same, he said, I'll survive. I'll still take the job. We'll figure out new routines. But I couldn't walk away from this car, this us, without saying it out loud. I'm scared, I said. The words came out small and raw. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to believe people stay. My whole life has been one long practice for being left. I know, he said. You told me. In the storm. On the highway. In a dozen tiny ways. He reached across the console again. Slower this time. I'm not promising nothing bad will ever happen, he said. I'm not promising I'll never screw up. I'm just promising I'm not running at the first sign of hard. His hand hovered over mine. Waiting. asking. I don't need you to be sure, he said. I just need you to be willing to try with me. I let out a shaky laugh. You're so dramatic for an IT guy. Don't tell anyone, he said. I slid my hand into his. I love you too, I said, for the record. In case that wasn't clear, his whole face changed. The tension melted. Joy rushed in. No, he said. That was not clear. You're impossible to read. I'm not impossible to read, I said. You're just bad at reading. He laughed. It was loud and bright and real. Then he leaned in and kissed me. It wasn't fireworks exploding or choir singing. It was warm and steady and familiar, like finally admitting what the last few months had already built. When we pulled apart, we both looked dazed and stupidly happy. So, he said. Logistics. Romantic, I said. I'm serious, he replied, still smiling. You're still at Henderson. I'll be at Vertex. No built-in commute, but we can still make this bubble real. Different shape. Same people. You're talking commute custody, I said. Shared visitation rights with my passenger seat. Exactly, he said. I want Saturdays. And at least one weeknight. I'll fight you for them in court. You know lawyers, I said. That's a bad strategy. He squeezed my hand. I'm tired of building my life around obligations only, he said. I want to build around you too. I'm tired of expecting everything to end, I said. I want to try expecting something to stay. Just once. I can work with that, he said softly. The oak tree dropped another acorn on the hood. We both jumped, then laughed. Ready to go home, he asked. Yeah, I said. Let's go home. He started the engine and backed out. Our last official commute as carpool partners became our first official drive as something else. Life after Vertex was not a montage. It was busy and messy and full of schedules. Grant's new office was 15 minutes from his apartment. My commute to Henderson was still 30. Doing both together every day meant one of us spending almost an hour out of the way. We tried once. It was miserable. So we did the thing we were good at now. We made rules. Saturday mornings were ours. No work. No errands unless they were shared. He'd pull up around 9 with 2 travel mugs and that stupid dinosaur grinning from the mirror. North or south? He'd ask. Surprise me, I'd say. Sometimes we ended up at the lake, sitting on the hood of his car, watching joggers and making up stories about them. Sometimes we found flea markets and argued over ugly lamps. Sometimes we just drove around aimlessly playing What's Their Deal with highway traffic and stopping at diners with sticky menus and perfect pancakes. Tuesday nights became family nights. I'd take the bus toward his mom's neighborhood, and he'd meet me at the transit center. The first time I showed up at his mom's as his girlfriend instead of the girl from the carpool, she hugged me before I finished stepping inside. Finally, she said into my hair. I was starting to think you were imaginary. Naomi sat at the kitchen table with a textbook open and eyed me over the top. If you break his heart, she said, I will text you passive-aggressive memes at 3 in the morning. If he ever plays a crypto podcast in the car, I will steal your protein bars, I said. She grinned. Fair. Our bubble expanded. It stretched to include his mom's kitchen, where the table was always a little too full. It reached my tiny apartment, where he'd fall asleep on the couch halfway through a movie with his head in my lap. It wrapped around grocery stores and Target runs and nights eating instant ramen in front of my TV. We still fought sometimes. About time, about money, about how fast to move, about the fact that he loaded the dishwasher like a raccoon trying to solve a puzzle. We still always ended up back in the car. We'd park outside my building or his place and talk. Things out with the heater on and the radio low. Voices rough from arguing, but hands still close enough to touch. Every time we chose to say, on purpose. Not because it was easy, because it mattered. One warm evening, months after the Vertex email, we were driving back from his mom's. Windows cracked. Some soft song I liked playing. I've been thinking, he said. Dangerous, I replied automatically. Shut up, he said, smiling. Then his face turned serious. My lease is up in a few months. My heart did a nervous little tap dance. Okay, there's this apartment complex halfway between your job and mine, he said. Decent rent. Real parking lot, not sketchy alley parking. So you've been on Zillow, I said. Maybe, he said. I ran numbers. If we split rent, it'd be cheaper for both of us than our current places, and we'd both shave time off our commutes. You're doing a very sexy thing right now, I said, talking about budgets. He huffed a laugh. I'm not asking you to say yes tonight, or even at all. I just wanted to float the idea. What idea? I asked, even though I knew. Living together, he said. You and me. One place, one kitchen, 2 mugs. A fridge full of groceries we both pretend the other one bought. I stared ahead at the road, at the headlights stretching into the dark. I'm still scared, I said, of getting used to things I can lose. Me too, he said. But I'd rather be scared with you than safe by myself. I let that sit for a few breaths. The turn signal ticked. The engine hummed. Can I be honest? I asked. Please, he said. I want that, I said. I want stupid arguments about thermostats and whose turn it is to take the trash out. I want to wake up and hate mornings with you instead of alone. He squeezed the steering wheel. Yeah, I said. I'm not promising I won't freak out. I'm promising I won't run when I do. I can work with that, he said again, voice soft. I reached for his hand. He let go of the wheel with one and met me halfway. We drove like that. One hand on the wheel, one hand on each other. People always ask how we met. Grant says work because it's simple. I say carpool because it's closer. But neither answer really fits. We met in the in-between. We met in the 30 minutes between home and the office. Between exhaustion and performance. Between I'm fine and actually I'm not. We met in traffic jams and rainstorms and breakdowns. On the side of the highway with our hazard lights blinking. Under a half-dead oak tree in a parking garage that dropped acorns like punctuation. We built a whole life out of those minutes. One joke, one traffic game, one cup of gas station coffee at a time. Now our days look different. No more shared sprint to beat the 8 a.m. start time. No more default rides twice a day, 5 days a week. But the bubble we built didn't vanish when the route changed. It just moved. It lives in Saturday morning drives with no destination. In Tuesday dinners where his mom insists I take leftovers. In Tuesday nights where I'm in his passenger seat, telling him about my day while the city slides by outside. It lives in the way he still reaches for my hand at red lights without thinking. In the way my shoulders drop just a little every time I get into his car and close the door on the rest of the world. We didn't just save gas. We accidentally built a whole life together. On our way to his mom's one evening, Grant nods at a red hatchback ahead of us. What's their deal? He asks. Easy, I say. She signed up for carpool matching to save money. Met a guy who promised not to play crypto podcasts. Fell in love with him in traffic. Now she's terrified and happy, and still kind of can't believe she gets to have this. He looks over at me with that soft, private smile he only uses for me. Very specific, he says. Just a guess, I say. He squeezes my hand. The road stretches out ahead of us. Unknown, twisty, real. For the first time in my life, I'm not planning for the exit. We'll take it one drive at a time. Same as always, together.